So we have completed the chapter solutions. So in our regular classes we were discussing the chapter surface chemistry. Surface chemistry consists of three portions, namely adsorption, catalysis and colloids. So I have completed adsorption and catalysis and started colloids in your regular classes. So the continuation of colloids is today's topic. So let me remember colloids. So in the chapter colloids, we have studied what is a true solution. Number 2, suspension, and number 3, colloids. What is a true solution? Say for example, when sodium chloride is dissolved in water, you will get a true solution. A true solution is a homogeneous mixture in which the size of the particle is particles is less than 1 nanometer or less than 10 to the power of minus 9 meter, and these particles can pass through parchment paper and cannot be seen even under ultramicroscope. Coming to suspension, for example, when sand is stirred with water, you will get a suspension. The sand particles will settle at the bottom of the beaker. Here, the size of the particle is greater than 1000 nanometer or greater than 10 to the power of minus 9 meter. So these particles cannot pass through ordinary filter paper. The particles can be seen with our naked eyes. Coming to the third class of solutions, namely colloids. For example, when starch is dissolved in hot water, you will get a starch solution. When gum particles are dissolved in water, we will get gum particles. When egg albumin is dissolved in water, we will get egg albumin in water. In all these solutions, the size of the particle is between 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometer or 10 to the power of minus 9 meter to 10 to the power of minus 6 meter. Here the size of the particle is very important. So depending upon the size of the solute particles in the solution, solutions are classified into three types, namely true solution where the size of the particle is less than 1 nanometer, suspension where the size of the particles of solute is greater than 1000 nanometer. If the size of the particles of the solute is greater than 1000 nanometer, the particle will settle at the bottom of the beaker. So in between these two solutions there is another class of solutions, namely colloidal solutions or colloids. So here the size of the particles of solute is between 1 nanometer and 1000 nanometer. These particles will not settle at the bottom of the beaker, but they are suspended in the bulk of the solution. So now we will define what are colloidal solution. A colloidal solution is an heterogeneous system. Colloidal solution is an heterogeneous system. In which one substance of size between 1 nanometer and 1000 nanometer suspended in another medium medium. Say for example, when starch is dissolved in water, you will get starch solution, which is a colloidal solution. Similarly, when gum particles are dissolved in water, we will get gum solution. Here the starch particles are of size between 1 nanometer and 1000 nanometer, and these particles are distributed in another medium, namely water. So, colloidal solution is an heterogeneous system consisting of two substances. One is in the colloidal form and another one is the medium. So, and we also studied what are dispersed phase and dispersion medium. So, what are dispersed phase and dispersion medium in colloidal solution? This also I told you. What is dispersed? Colloidal solution is an heterogeneous system consisting of two substances. The substance of size between 1 nanometer and 1000 nanometer distributed in another medium is called dispersed phase, and the medium in which it is distributed is called dispersion medium. Here starch is the dispersed phase and water is the dispersion medium. So, colloidal solution consisting of two substances. Number one is dispersed phase. Here in dispersed phase, the size of the particle is between 1 nanometer and 1000 nanometer. These particles are distributed in another medium. So, this is the meaning of dispersed phase and dispersion medium. So, this also I told you in the classes. So, now coming to the classification of colloids. So, colloids can be classified into various types depending upon various factors. The first factor on which the classification made is based on the physical state of the dispersed phase and dispersion medium. Based on the physical state of the dispersed phase and dispersion medium, colloids are classified into the following types. Number one type, dispersed phase, dispersion medium. Name of the colloid and examples. So, type, dispersed phase, dispersion medium, name of the colloid and example. The first type is if the dispersed phase is solid and the dispersion medium is a gas. This is one type. Second type is solid dispersed in liquid, and the third type is solid dispersed in solid. Solid dispersed in gas, solid dispersed in liquid, solid dispersed in solid. And then fourth type, liquid dispersed in gas, liquid dispersed in liquid, and liquid dispersed in solid. And these are another three types. Next, dispersion of gas in gas is not possible. Therefore, dispersion of gas in liquid, dispersion of gas in solid. So, depending upon the physical state of dispersed phase and dispersion medium, these are the 8 types of colloids. First 3 types: solid in gas, solid in liquid, solid in solid. Second type: liquid in gas, liquid in liquid, liquid in solid. And next, last, gas in liquid, gas in solid. Gas in gas is not possible since it forms homogeneous mixture. Gas in gas is not possible since it forms homogeneous mixture. So now coming to the name of the colloid. So if a solid is dispersed in gas, it is called aerosol. Aerosol of solid, I can call it as aerosol of solid. If solid is distributed in liquid, it is simply called sol. If solid is dispersed in solid, it is called solid sol. It is called solid sol. Examples for if solid distributed in gas, example smoke, dust, etc. Solid is distributed in liquid, it is called sol. Example, starch solution or gold sol, etc. And then solid in solid, that is solid sol. Examples, alloys, pumice stone, etc. are the colloids of solid in solid. And then coming to the next 3 types: liquid in gas, liquid in liquid, liquid in solid. So liquid in gas is also called as aerosol of liquid. Aerosol of liquid. Liquid in liquid is emulsion. Liquid in solid is called gel. Next, example for distribution of liquid in gas is aerosol. Example, mist, cloud, etc. Liquid in liquid is called emulsion. Examples for emulsion is milk, oil in water, etc. And then distribution of liquid in solid, it is called gel. Example for gel is butter, cream, jellies, that means fruit jellies, jams, etc. And then gas in liquid, it is called foam. So you will get foam in soap water, and gas in solid, it is called solid foam. Example, sponge. So depending upon the physical state of the dispersed phase and dispersion medium, colloids are of these 8 types. The 9th type, that is gas in gas, is not possible since it forms homogeneous mixture. Out of these, you will be asked what is a sol, what is emulsion, what is gel, and what are aerosol. Now, what is the definition of a sol? What is a sol? It is a colloidal system in which the dispersed phase is solid and dispersion medium is liquid. Colloidal system in which the dispersed phase is solid and dispersion medium is liquid. Dispersed phase is solid and dispersion medium is liquid is called sol. Example, gold sol, silver sol, etc. And then what is emulsion? So it is a colloidal system in which the dispersed phase is liquid and the dispersion medium is also liquid. Dispersed phase is liquid and dispersion medium is also liquid. Example, milk, oil in water, etc. And then what is gel? Gel is also a colloidal system in which the dispersed phase is liquid, and the dispersion medium is a solid. Dispersion medium is solid. So all these are very important. They will be asked in the examination for 1 marks. So gel, colloidal system in which dispersed phase is liquid and dispersion medium is solid. Example, butter, toothpaste, jellies, jams, etc. And lastly, what is aerosol? Aerosol, it is also a colloidal system in which the dispersed phase is either liquid or a solid, and the dispersion medium is a gas. Dispersion medium is a gas. Example, cloud, mist, smoke, dust, etc. all are aerosols. So second type of classification of colloids is based on the affinity or interaction between the dispersed phase and dispersion medium. The colloids are classified into 2 types. Number 1, lyophilic colloids, and number 2, lyeophobic colloids. Lyophilic colloids and lyeophobic colloids. Lyophilic colloids are also called as solvent loving colloids, and lyeophobic colloids are also called as solvent hating colloids. So if the solvent is water, if the solvent or dispersion medium is water, lyophilic colloids are also called as hydrophilic colloids. And they are called as hydrophobic colloids. So depending upon the affinity between the dispersed phase and dispersion medium, colloids are classified into 2 types. Number 1, lyophilic colloids, lyeophobic colloids. Leo means solvent, philic means loving. Solvent loving colloids and solvent hating colloids. If the medium or the solvent is water, they are called as hydrophilic colloids, hydrophobic colloids. Coming to the definition of lyophilic and lyeophobic colloids. What are lyophilic colloids? Lyophilic colloids are those in which there is great affinity between the dispersed phase and dispersion medium particles. So if there is a great affinity between dispersed phase and dispersion medium particles, those colloids are called as lyophilic colloids. They are also called as solvent loving colloids. Example, starch solution, number 2 gum solution, etc. And then what are lyeophobic colloids? So lyeophobic colloids are those colloids in which there is no much affinity. There is no much affinity between the dispersed phase and dispersion medium. There is no much affinity between dispersed phase and dispersion medium are called lyeophobic colloids. Lyeophobic colloids. Lyeophobic means solvent hating colloids. They don't like solvents. Example for lyeophobic colloids: gold sol, silver sol, arsenious sulfide sol, As2S3, arsenious sulfide sol, etc. are lyeophobic sols. Coming to the differences between lyophilic and lyeophobic sols. So this is the differences between lyophilic and lyeophobic sols. So lyophilic colloids are also called as lyophilic sols. They are called as solvent loving sols. Lyeophobic colloids are also called as solvent hating sols. The first difference is there is great affinity. There is great affinity between dispersed phase and dispersion medium. Dispersed phase means colloidal particles, and the medium in which it is distributed is called dispersion medium. So here there is no much affinity between dispersed phase and dispersion medium. There is great affinity. Here there is no great affinity, there is no much affinity between dispersed phase and dispersion medium. This is the first difference. Second difference, lyophilic colloids can be prepared easily. They can be prepared easily. So easily means when dispersed phase is shaked with dispersion medium. For example, when starch particles are shaked with hot water, you will get a beautiful starch solution. They can be prepared easily because there is much affinity between dispersed phase and dispersion medium. They can be prepared easily by heating or by shaking the dispersed phase with dispersion medium. So second difference here, they cannot be prepared easily. Cannot be prepared easily. Cannot be prepared easily. So what is the third difference? They are more stable. They are more stable because of solvation due to high solvation. So ಇದನ್ನ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಜ್ಞಾಪಕ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. They are more stable. Lyophilic sols are more stable. More stable means, for example, the colloidal particles are distributed in the medium. If the particles settle down, that means they are unstable. They should not settle down. Colloidal particles should not settle down. That is the stability. They are more stable means the colloidal particles will not settle to the bottom due to high solvation. What is the meaning of high solvation? The colloidal particles are surrounded by solvent particles. So due to the sheet of solvent particles around the colloidal particles, these particles cannot settle down. So the stability of colloidal particles is increased by the sheet of solvent particles around the solute particles. They are more stable. So here they are less stable. They are less stable. Leophobic colloids are less stable. The next fourth difference is they are reversible. They are reversible. What is the meaning of reversible? Suppose if these particles are made to settle down. For example, so suppose this is a starch solution. If excess of sodium chloride is added into this starch solution and on heating, colloidal particles will settle down. So you will get a precipitate here. So if you add more amount of water and on heating, these precipitate again converted into a colloidal solution, that is known as reversibility. So particles can be made precipitate and the precipitate can be again made into colloidal particles, that is known as reversibility. So Lyophilic salts are reversible, that is the meaning of there. They are reversible. Lyophilic salts are reversible. Leophobic salts are irreversible. They are irreversible. They are irreversible. Fifth property, the colloidal particles usually carry charges. They carry either positive charges or negative charges. So in case of lyophilic colloids, particles may or may not carry charges, whereas in case of leophobic colloids, particles always carry charges. The particles may or may not carry charges. Here the particles always carry charges. The particles always carry charges. So they carry either positive charges or negative charges. That means all particles carry either positive charges or negative charges. Then sixth property, coming to viscosity of the solution. Viscosity. So suppose this is water, clear water, its viscosity is less. When starch is added into this water and its viscosity increases and the solution becomes thick. So this happens in case of lyophilic colloids. So in lyophilic colloids, the viscosity of the colloidal solution is greater than that of its solvent. Whereas in case of leophobic colloids, viscosity of the solvent is almost similar to the viscosity of the solution. The viscosity of the colloidal solution is greater than that of the medium or solvent. So here viscosity of the solution is almost same as same as that of the medium ammonia. So there will be no difference in the viscosity of the solution and the medium in case of lyeophobic colloids. Here, in case of lyophilic colloids, the viscosity of the colloidal solution is always greater than the viscosity of the medium. Lastly, coming to Tyndall effect. I will tell you later on what is the meaning of Tyndall effect. So, lyophilic colloids may or may not show Tyndall effect. May or may not show Tyndall effect. Whereas in case of lyeophobic colloids, they always show Tyndall effect. They always show Tyndall effect. Tyndall effects. So these are the very important differences between. So you will be asked, what is the difference between lyophilic and lyeophobic colloids based on the affinity between dispersed phase and dispersion medium. Lyophilic colloids are classified. Colloids are classified into two types: lyophilic, lyeophobic, solvent loving, solvent hating. These are the differences. There is great affinity between dispersed phase and dispersion medium, no much affinity. They can be prepared easily, cannot be prepared easily. They are more stable because of solvation. They are less stable. They are reversible. They are irreversible. Particles may or may not carry charges. Here particles always carry charges. Viscosity of the solution is greater than that of the medium. Here viscosity of the solution is almost equal to the viscosity of the medium. Coming to the Tyndall effect, the particles may or may not show Tyndall effect. Here particles always show Tyndall effect. So the third type of classification is based on the type or size of the colloidal particles. So based on the type or size of the dispersed phase particles, colloids are classified into three types. Number one, multimolecular colloids. Number two, macromolecular colloids. And number three, associated colloids. Associated colloids, they are also called as micelles. So first we will know what is multimolecular colloids. So colloids formed by the aggregation. Colloids formed by the aggregation or association of atoms or molecules of the solute whose size is less than 1 nanometer and distributed in a medium. Distributed in a medium are called multimolecular colloids. Multimolecular colloids. Say for example, so these are the colloids formed by the aggregation or association of atoms or molecules of the solute. So atoms or molecules are very small. Their size is less than 1 nanometer. These atoms or molecules associate or aggregates and form a particle of size greater than or in between 1 nanometer and 1000 nanometer. 1 nanometer and 1000 nanometer is called associated colloids. Colloids formed by the aggregation or association of atoms or molecules of the solutes whose size is less than 1 nanometer and distributed in another medium are called multimolecular colloids. So, in multimolecular colloids, the atoms or molecules in the aggregates are held by weak van der Waals forces. This is a colloidal particle. It is made up of large number of atoms and molecules which are held by very weak van der Waals forces. The atoms or molecules in the aggregated particles are held by weak van der Waals forces. These particles, atoms or molecules are held by very weak van der Waals forces. Number 2, these colloidal particles are Lyeophobic in nature. The particles are Lyeophobic in nature. That means they hate solvents and they have low molecular masses. They have low molecular masses. Example for multimolecular colloids. Number 1, gold sol or sulfur sol. Gold sol, and number 2, sulfur sol, in which each particle consists of 8 particles of sulfur. So 8 atoms of sulfur forms multimolecular colloids. This is the first type based on the size or type of the dispersed phase particles. So colloids formed by the aggregation or association of atoms or molecules of the solutes whose size is less than 1 nanometer and distributed in another medium forms multimolecular colloids. Here, in the aggregated molecule or the particles or the colloidal particles, the atoms or molecules are held by weak van der Waals forces and they are Lyeophobic in nature and the molecular masses are less. For example, gold sol. How we can prepare gold sol? When gold particles, when gold rods are heated at very high temperature of an arc, the gold atoms and molecules vaporizes. These atoms and molecules then condenses in cold water to the size of colloidal particles where the atoms or molecules are held by weak van der Waals forces, and these are all called multimolecular colloids. To macromolecular colloids, colloids formed by dissolving macromolecules or polymers in suitable solvent such that the size of the particles is in between 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometer are called macromolecular colloids. So colloids formed by dissolving macromolecules or polymers in suitable solvents such that the size of the particle is between 1 nanometer and 1000 nanometer are called macromolecular colloids. So here the the atoms or molecules are held by strong chemical bonds. Here the bigger particles are break down to the size of colloidal particles, where the atoms and molecules are held by strong chemical bonds only. And number 2, they are lyophilic in nature. So they love solvents, and they have high molecular masses. So coming to examples for natural polymers. Polymers are macromolecules. Example: starch, cellulose, proteins, enzymes. These are natural polymers or macromolecules. When dissolved in water or when suspended in water, we will get macromolecular colloids. For example, when starch powder is dissolved in hot water, we will get starch colloidal solution in water, where the starch particles in the colloidal form. And coming to artificial polymers or macromolecules. Example number 1, polythene, nylon, etc. When dissolved in suitable solvents, we will get macromolecular colloids.